Hello and welcome to Story on the Spot. My name is Jim Heskett, and going clockwise from me up there is Mr. R.A. McGee, Mr. Kevin Tumlinson, and Thacker, aka Nick Thacker. How's everybody doing?
Good. Bueno.
Good.
All right. Yes.
Thacker apparently does not understand the concept of marketing himself, since he's always trying to throw people off his trail.
It's true. That's true. I normally would rely on something as esteemed as Story on the Spot to market myself, but I figured I could probably go with a pseudonym for just this once.
All right, so I have a couple of surprises today. I made some new graphics, so you might see this come up.
Uh-oh.
If there's a bad accent coming, I'll throw up a little trigger warning right here. Also, Kevin, you should like this one. I made the dun 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 graphic. So if either of those pop up, then you will know why. Okay, so let me just first up say, if you're watching, listening, make sure you visit storyonthespot.live so you can learn more about the show, get to all our websites, etc., etc. Okay, so what we do on the show is I am going to throw up a news article that I'm going to read, and then everyone around me will have a chance to pitch me a story idea.
Wait, you didn't tell me that's what we were doing?
Yes, that's what we're doing.
Oh, man.
Also, first, with some hasty math, I calculated last week's from week 4, and the winner, week 4, is Mr. Kevin Tumlinson.
Yeah. That's it. I don't know if I mentioned I can't play today. Nick's out. Nick's out.
Nick removed himself from the live stream once he found out he did not win. So.
Why would I show up if I'm not the winner?
Because
I don't do anything if I'm not the number one guy.
Now you have a chance to redeem yourself this week, Nicholas.
I'm not sure that's true. Every rule I try to invent to make it easier for me to win, you guys just don't follow.
Yeah, well, we'll see. All right, let's go. I'm gonna go and put up our first strip here. This is called Never Ending Fish. When Alexandria Miller of Chicago won a 2-inch goldfish at a carnival, she assumed he would stay the same size. But since then, Gerald, the goldfish, has grown to be 12 inches long, and Miller has spent $1,300 upgrading his tanks to accommodate him. And Gerald, the goldfish, is not shy about getting his needs met. He does lay around a lot, but it seems when he's bored or hungry, he jumps out of the water and likes to grab the thermometer inside his tank, Miller said. He'll click it against the glass till he's got our attention. But she went on, if I put a smaller fish in there with him, he will eat that fish. So what we've got here is a very demanding, a very aggressive goldfish who does not like sharing the attentions of his owners. And likes expensive tanks.
Apparently, Alexandria is learning a lot about the circle of life there, too.
I guess so.
Well, I throw food in it, it eats the food.
Now, be nice. All right, so if someone would like to go first, you can. Or if everybody just sits here and stares at each other for a few more seconds, I'll just call on somebody.
I'll be the first on the firing line.
Can't wait to steal this idea.
Yes. You are very good at that, sir. Okay. So I think that we are dealing with a modern day fairy tale, okay? Mm-hmm. And that Gerald the goldfish was actually Gerald the accountant, who is not that good with the ladies, never had a chance to meet anyone that he loved. And he went to a carnival and met a nice carny, kind of soothsayer witch type of person. And he said that he wanted someone to love him for him and not all of his accountant riches. And so she cursed him by making him a goldfish and putting him in a little jar on the midway. Andrea comes by. She wins the game. She wins the goldfish in the little jar, takes him home. But, of course, he's going to keep growing because naturally that's what goldfish do. And, he's just trying to get her attention. That's why he's always messing with the thermometer and clicking on the glass. He wants her to understand that I'm here for you, and if you'll just love me, I can turn back into Gerald the accountant. And the reason why he eats the other fish is because he's afraid of competition. He doesn't know if there's going to be another one waiting for Alexandria's love to turn back. So he snuffs out the competition. So I think we're dealing with a modern day fairy tale.
Wow, very nice. I like that one a lot.
Hey, as an aside, Kevin's going to Kerrville, which is the home of a Native American fairy tale. It's very similar to what BJ is talking about. It's like a mermaid, a Native American tale. She wants to fall in love with the main guy, and this fish comes along and says, "I'll let you fall in love with him, but he can never see you turn into a mermaid at night," or something like that. Cool.
Also, as a note to our listeners and watchers, when Nick says BJ, he means RA.
You don't know that. You don't know what I'm talking about.
I'm a man of many names. Many names.
Look, you guys can't see him. There's a guy right behind my computer named BJ. I'm just talking to him.
I wasn't talking to you.
Shut up,
All
James.
right. Kevin or Nick, who would like to go next?
I got it. I think I got something. So this, to me, is a really cool version of kind of like a Lawnmower Man type situation, where you got a guy a scientist who's figured out a way to interface with certain species of animals that he's testing in his laboratory, brain to brain in some ways, so that he can sort of take over their involuntary systems, right? So like he can control some certain things about them. So he's working on it as sort of like a spy type program where he can get into the interface with the mind of a mouse remotely and kind of drive that mouse around to be able to do some espionage type stuff. Well, he's testing this on goldfish, and what happens is there's some sort of power situation that causes him to get stuck in the interface. He can't get out of the interface. So now he's this goldfish, and the goldfish somehow ends up in the carnival and gets sold and all that, and ends up in a pond. But he's now a goldfish, effectively trying to signal to the humans, hey, I'm not just a goldfish, and in order to prove that to you, I'm going to tap against this thermometer on the side of the pool, because it's the best thing I can think of. Also, I'm going to eat fish, which it's very strange in the world of sea life, but that's what he decided to do, was to eat fish to grow. So beat that, guys. Beat that.
All right, Kevin. The cup is passed to you. Can you beat that?
Yes, I believe I can. So I think our girl Alexandria, right? I think she cheaped out just a little, and she took her goldfish. And when she initially got the bowl, she wanted to have some nice looking, pebbles and gravel in the bottom of it. So she went out to the woods near her home, and she scooped up a big pile of loose stones and gravel, and she put it in there. It's all sparkly and colorful, and she liked the way it almost seemed like it glowed. And then over time, as the fish starts to grow, she just transfers that same material over to the new tank, maybe even adds a little more from the pile out back, and it just kind of grows and grows and grows. And it turns out, weeks before she got the fish, a meteor struck the earth, and instead of creating an impact crater, it shattered into thousands of little pebbles. And the radiation from this stone from space is mutating the fish and causing it to grow. And eventually it bursts from its bowl and consumes her and everyone around her, and starts making its way to the ocean in a Godzilla-like march through the city.
That is pretty good. So, hey, if you were watching on Facebook Live, you can throw comments in there. That story was called Never Ending Fish. If you want to say who you thought won Never Ending Fish, if your comment is also clever, I'll put it up on the screen. Now we can move on. I'm not going to sit around and wait for that to happen.
Jen Caldwell, I'm counting on you. Vote for me.
You shouldn't count on Jen. I think she's on my team.
No. Slate starts clean.
I don't know if she is or not. I'm just hoping. I need somebody.
Here we go. Story number 2, Godzilla versus TP. During the COVID-19 crisis, some people in Japan have resorted to pilfering toilet paper from public restrooms when the rolls became unavailable in stores. One convenience store worker put the power of the supernatural to work against such thefts. Mink Itachibe, who works at a store in Niigata, hung signs with images of eyes and kanji characters in front of the toilet paper to curse the tempting rolls. I did it as a joke, but it seems to have worked, she told CNN. The symbols imply that if someone steals TP from the store, a hungry monster will hunt them down and gobble them up. People can be quite superstitious in Japan, Itachibe said. While you guys are chewing on that for a second, I'm going to throw
No
up.
accent on this one.
Notice I stayed in.
I practiced it once this morning, and it didn't feel very. It felt kind of insensitive, so I decided
Not appropriate,
not to.
But appropriating.
Yeah, it felt not appropriate. So Tara Hanley Stapleton thinks Kevin won round 1. Desiree McGee voted for BJ. Well, look at that last name.
Nepotism.
I don't know if that vote counts. You could at least try to change your last name on Facebook before you.
Right.
McGee
Shameless.
here.
Shameless, but I love her.
Lisa Badger says KT, but the N went a bit daft. I'm not sure. Christy votes for RA.
I'll just sit here behind all the little names. No one can see. I'm just Googling stuff. Don't mind me. Guys. There you go.
Okay. Who wants to go first this time? Nick, you're going to go?
Yeah, right. I got something. Okay. So I think we've got oh crap. What's the name of the what's the kind of the mafia, the mob, the Japanese one? What is that called?
The Yakuza?
Yakuza, yeah.
Yakuza, yeah.
So this is a modern day pirate story, and the TP is like the black spot, and wherever the black spot is, the Yakuza knows that there are some people that they're supposed to take out. So what this story is not actually talking about is that this guy, whatever his name, I can't remember the guy's name, Mink, is working with them in order to give them essentially targets. So he's acting as like a modern day hitman, and the way he's found to get to invoke fear in the public's eye is to use sort of a modern day black spot type thing with little eyes and goblins and stuff on toilet paper. So you notice, like he says, the thievery goes down. It's because anyone who does steal that toilet paper ends up dead.
Yeah. They end up with no teeth and no fingertips.
Yes.
In some lake or river.
And poop all over their booty. Because they don't have anything to wipe. No fingertips, man.
It really is a modern day pirate story. It's got booty and everything.
Very nice. Very nice.
What'd you expect? Come on.
Geez. Okay.
You took their fingertips away. Naturally, I was like, well, that's actually far more torturous than I would have imagined.
Okay. All right. I'll go second unless you got something, Kevin.
I got something. It's only fair. I went last time. That gives you more time.
All right, respect.
You good? All right.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So, all right. I'm thinking this is going to be one of those scenarios where somebody decides to just push their luck and flaunt the system. He's got he's at home. He's a single guy. He's running low on toilet paper. He's a little short on cash. What does he care if there's a couple of monsters stuck to the side of this thing? He's gonna go and grab what he needs for him. And so he grabs it and he gets home and he swabs his poop deck. And the next morning, he wakes up to news stories of a city in chaos. Creatures run amok. There's monsters. There's a monster somewhere. There's monsters everywhere. And he thinks it's got to be a coincidence. And then throughout the day, the stories just sort of die off, and it's more of a wonder what kind of thing. What the hell was that? And that night, he turns in again, and the next morning he wakes up, there's more news stories. And it turns out that the curse wasn't that you'll be attacked by monsters, but you'll become the monster. So now he's cursed with the the kudzu curse. The TV kudzu, is it kudzu? No, it's not kudzu. What is it called? The monsters.
Kanji?
Oh, the kanji.
Kanji TP curse. Kaiji. Yes. Poopzilla.
There's kanji and kaiju. I think those are two different things.
Kaiju.
Yeah,
Kaiju's the monster.
Yeah.
All
Okay.
right. Only one more to go. All right. What do you have for us today?
Right. So I think that Mink is a they don't tell her age in this, but I think she's a very old woman. And I think that she grew up in a more rural area and has since, moved into the city. And when she was rural, and when she was a young girl in her village, that the dot system and the googly eyes were what they put up to protect their valuables from monsters that lived in the forest. So that was like how they would ward their important, valuable things. And so she had always taken that. It's kind of like, in India, they wear the masks on the back of their head when they walk through the forest. So the tigers don't attack them from behind. Ostensibly the tigers see the face and think they're being watched, so they don't attack people. That's a real thing. So they would do that with the eyes in the rural forest village that she lived in, and that's how they would keep the monsters at bay. And so now that she's moved into the city, she's old and she's a little bit old school, and so that's the only way she knows to protect what's important to her. And since she considers herself a good steward of her workplace, she's trying to keep people from stealing it. So she puts the eyes up, hoping that people will be scared of it the same way she was as a girl, not realizing that the world's kind of passed her by a little bit. And it's a little antiquated at this point. But I think she's just literally trying to scare people by putting the googly eyes at them. So,
all right. Very nice. Okay. Our next one. And yeah. Okay. So there is a bad accent coming.
I'm hovering over the button.
Oh, man.
I'm hovering.
So much pressure. This is called Fishing for a Payday. An innovative jewel thief in Melbourne, Australia, was caught on camera using a fishing rod to burgle a Versace necklace from a store window.
Burgle's my favorite verb.
That's a good verb. It's a very
it's
good
my
verb.
favorite one.
Yeah.
Pilfer is another good one. Pilfer is
it.
another good word for stealing, too. The thief carefully broke a hole in the window to avoid setting off the alarm. Then he spent almost 3 hours trying to hook the costume jewelry necklace worth about $800. He worked with 2 different sized fishing rods before finally snagging the necklace. Store owner Stephen Adigrati called the heist outrageous and courageous, although he suspected the thief was unaware that the piece was relatively inexpensive. This particular necklace looks a lot more expensive than what it is. Gold, bright, iconic Medusa head, he explained. Police are still searching for the fisherman. So what we've got here is a guy who thinks that he's super creative, but he's not creative enough to use his brilliant fishing rod plan to steal the most expensive piece of jewelry. He goes for something probably that's closer, that's within reach, instead of reworking his plan to maximize his thievery. Who hasn't gone first yet?
I don't think I have. Have I?
All right.
I don't think I have. Okay. So I think what we got here is a case of the jokes on the store owner and the police. This relatively inexpensive item of costume jewelry turns out to not be costume jewelry at all, and is in fact an ancient artifact cleverly hidden there by the person who initially stole it as a way to sneak it out of the country. So they've dropped. What do we got going, Nick?
Nick's got to get votes somehow.
It's a pseudonym of mine.
Nick,
that's my pen name. That's not me.
Nick voted for himself in the comments.
That's not. You don't know who I'm talking to when I say Nick.
You're disrupting the beautiful story, guys.
Sorry, Kevin. Please continue.
Sorry.
No. So that's the gist. So an international thief has stolen this artifact. The only way to get it out of the country was to hide it in among some costume jewelry. It ends up in this store where he's tracked it down. Now he's retrieving it and has used his clever fishing technique to get it back. And only one cop realizes that there's something fishy about this whole thing and starts pursuing our thief. Otherwise, everyone else was just going to write it off as a big joke.
All right, very nice. Nick,
Yeah.
R.A.
I think I got to go second this time. I don't think I went last.
Yeah, R.A.'s up. Yeah.
Okay, so I think that we are dealing with some Monty Python level criminal gang initiation. All right. I think that there is a gang in Melbourne that's not very well thought of because they don't really do a very good job. You know what I mean? They're the I don't know, the Arizona Cardinals of the gang world. I don't know who had a bad year this year. But
the title of this episode is "Sorry, Arizona."
All the professional sports teams had a bad year this year. BJ, thanks for reminding us.
No, that's not true. Somebody won the Super Bowl a few months ago.
It's like I can't fake my way through conversations anymore. Did you see the Sportsing game the other day? It was amazing.
It was awesome. How about them? So they're definitely like the lower tier. And so there's a guy who wants to be a criminal, and he's gone to all the other criminal organizations trying to get a job. They all know he's kind of not the brightest crayon in the box. So everyone keeps passing him on. We don't even want to use you. We don't even want to use you. So finally, he gets to the dregs of criminal society, and they say, okay, you figure out a way to steal this Medusa head, and you're in. So he plots for days and days and days. That's what they don't tell you. The lag time between when he decides to steal it and when he does steal it. He plots for days and days and days, and the best he can come up with is something that he saw on Looney Tunes, which is use a fishing hook and get it and sneak it out of there.
The Acme hook.
Exactly. So he steals the Medusa head. They get it back. They think they've done a good thing. The gang thinks they're set for life until they watch the news and find out that it's not worth very much. And they're still the losers of the Melbourne criminal trade. So
I love the idea that there's a scene in that movie or that story where he and some friends are like, I don't know, smoking weed or playing cards or something with the TV on the background, and then he says, "Wait a second, rewind that 30 seconds."
Yes,
there's a Bugs Bunny. Wait a second,
that's it. It's right there.
I love the idea that you immediately jump to it becoming a movie. I like that.
Well, I'm pretty confident that one day all of these stories are going to be optioned for film. All of these pitches that we're doing.
Mine will be a straight
like
to Netflix Sharknado jewelry thief.
They made a lot of Sharknadoes, man. You know, I'll write a Sharknado.
I'll write a Sharknado.
I'll write one.
Good money, yeah.
We should all just write a Sharknado.
Actually, wait, I just did actually, just right now. just wrote one. Okay, so here's what I got, man. I think what's happening here is our innovative jewel thief was actually hired by a local video company to make a commercial for this fishing rod and reel company. So this fishing company has come out with this new ocean fishing lure rod, and or two of them, I should say, right? A new brand of them, and they have this idea that they're going to film a commercial by having a jewel thief use the rod and reel so accurately to actually steal something from a jewelry shop. And then to make it even like one level better, instead of filming it themselves, they're going to actually just go get the in-store camera feed and use that as the commercial video. So they make sure to set the guy up on top of the roof where the camera can see him clearly and see what he's doing clearly. And then he drops his line in there and he's about to pull the jewel out and he's explaining everything he's doing about, hey, this new rod and reel is so accurate. Oh, shit. And he drops the microphone that he's wearing into the jewelry shop. And so then for the rest of the 3-hour video, instead of it being a commercial where he's narrating what he's doing and how accurate this is, and look, I'm in and out and I got my jewelry, he's just trying to fish his microphone back out so we can't hear anything. And it just looks like he's trying to steal something. Dun, 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 dun.
I knew that was coming. I knew Nick was going to say it, so I had to throw up the dun dun banner.
Well played.
Well played. All right, I think that is everyone. Here's some recent comments. Team BJ. Wow, there is even an entire team.
He's brought in ringers, man. That's not fair.
It's a movement, man. We're gonna have shirts soon.
You can tell which of us sent out an email and which didn't.
Mr. Nick Thacker keeps commenting to vote for himself.
You know what? We don't need to narrate that, Jim. Okay, we just let it be what it is. All right, people can decide for themselves. They don't need your journalistic inquiry.
Editorializing.
Well, I got to keep in mind the podcast listeners too, because they can't see what we're doing. All right, this is probably the last one. We're at 25 minutes, so let's make this one a good one. And there would have been an accent for this one. I definitely would have liked to do an accent, but there's no quotes. It's just narration. So this is called "The Dream Come True." All these stories today were from the Shepherd Express. Residents of Setticani, a small village in Italy, were startled when their kitchen and bathroom taps began dispensing red wine rather than water. Locals quickly identified the wine as Lambrusco Grasporosa, which is produced at a nearby winery, and officials there found a leak that sent wine from a silo into water pipes. Some quick-thinking residents said they bottled as much of the tap wine as they could before the problem was resolved.
Of course.
So one day somebody goes to take a bath in Setticani, and they turn on the tub, and then a bunch of very bloody red stuff comes out. Or somebody's about to do the dishes. They hold a cup under there, turn on the faucet, and just a bunch of red wine starts coming out. It's probably pretty scary at first because red wine is very bloody.
What's that? Is it a South Park episode? Never mind.
Who went first last time? R.A., did you go first last time?
I don't know. I don't know. I can go first, though. I don't mind.
All right.
Okay, so I think that we are dealing with, it's a small town, and the winery is the, stereotypical, rich people that you see in movies. They flaunt their wealth. They drive their Maseratis around, and the rest of the little people, they're not that happy. They're all having a hard time making ends meet and getting their bills taken care of. And so from the local people, a hero emerges. It's a Robin Hood type of vigilante. He's always doing what he can to take from the winery and give it to the populace. So, he goes.
Boozy Robin Hood is what you're saying.
Essentially, yes. If you want to distill it down, that's what I'm talking about. So,
well played.
You're a barrel of laughs. Sorry.
Thank you, sir. So, first he just takes money from them when he can. He even, takes food from their restaurant and distributes it to the people. Well, eventually the winery gets wise to this, and so they implement a private security system, and they've got everything locked down really tight. Okay, so he decides our boozy Robin Hood decides to have one more heist that's gonna basically shut down the winery. So he sneaks into their exactly. So he sneaks into their silo and he sabotages it and makes sure that it leaks into the water supply so that the townspeople can get as much booze as they can. The story doesn't tell you the whole truth, which is more than a few people bottled the wine. He had already passed the word around, so they had outside spigots running and taps and baths and everything. So they sucked all the boozy Robin Hood. I love it. Sucked all the booze out of the winery and bankrupted them. And the townspeople get to live happily ever after. So
very nice.
Well, I can go second. I don't want to whine too much about Ara's story, but I think
put a cork in it. Then nobody wants to hear it.
Hey, all right.
We should just have like a punny episode where we just go off. Do you think we can grapple with that? I think what Kevin got it. Okay. Anyway, I believe what's going on here is we've got a company sort of like the Franzia of Italian wineries, where it's just not really well respected and they haven't been getting any love. And they've got this scheme cooked up.
Box wine, bro?
Huh? What? What'd you say? I missed it. Somebody
you don't like box wine, bro?
Oh, no. I didn't say I didn't like box wine. I said the people in this community.
Okay.
Of course. And this is Italia, right? They don't like box wine.
Respect.
Right? Yeah,
respect.
Right. Frenzia for the win, man. I think what's going on is this Franzia type company is really just had enough. They're about to go bankrupt, and they got one more like last ditch effort plan. And the plan is very simple. We just go and we drain the tanks of the nearest biggest competitor that we've got, the Lambrusco, whatever they're called. And they try. What they don't account for is that for the last 30 years, there's been a conspiracy, or becomes a conspiracy. No one knew this was going on, but the big company has actually been selling water back to the water supply, and that's how they've been able to make all the money they've been making. And so instead of draining the tanks into what they think is a drainage ditch, it's actually just going right back into the water supply, barely being filtered, and then just sending back out into the city's pipes. And so this whole thing becomes a giant conspiracy that the Franzia company uncovers while trying to do something very illegal. And so the main character, the guy who actually is in charge of uncorking the big tank at the big facility, is now like kind of the investigator. He's got to stay ahead of the cops because they want to bring him in for damaging infrastructure. And of course, the conspiracy is to take down the local government. And meanwhile, he wants to see what's been going on and try to topple the empire of wine producers. Dun dun dun. Oh man. Okay. Well,
I'll give you a little
dun, an ending, Jim. If
dun,
I would have
dun,
just there it is. If I would have just said, and then he uncorked it and the rest is history, then you could have dun 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 it. But I gave you a good ending. So.
And then a dragon came out. Dun dun dun.
Dun dun dun. A toilet paper monster with eyes drawn on.
Dun dun dun.
Dun dun dun.
Toilet paper monster.
It's Kanji.
All right, Mr. Kevin Tumlinson, I believe you are taking us home today. The very last one on the very last story.
Okay, here's what I'm thinking.
What's a Disney?
I think that the scenario here is that there's a secret order, and they are trying to perform a ritual, but the ritual requires 7 signs, and one of those signs is water turning to wine. And what's happened is they can't perform the ritual and proceed to world domination unless all 7 of these signs happen in these exact places. So they've decided to speed up the timetable and arrange for the signs to happen. So the wine is one of them, but they've got 6 others around the globe. Someone discovers this. They discover that this is what's happening. And the signs aren't always as benign as water to wine. Some of them are, an entire population being infected by the plague or locusts or something like that, right? So this person's hot on the heels of this secret order, and they managed to track down the head of the order. And once they've got this guy in their sights, a battle ensues, and to stop him from whatever the final sign is, which he hasn't identified yet, to stop this order, the good guy has to kill the bad guy. And so he shoots him, and the bad guy falls over, and his blood spills out on the ground. And the good guy goes home, and we've won the day. But as it turns out, the 7th sign was this cult leader, this society leader. His blood had to be spilled on that exact spot by a righteous man. So inadvertently, our good guy has set off the apocalypse.
Is it called the 7th wine?
The 7th wine.
I like that Kevin went full Dan Brown with it. That was the first.
I was like,
I was waiting to name him Robert Langdon.
I skewed funny in the first 3, and nobody voted for me. So I'm like, all right, let's get back into my element here.
That's fair. No, it's it could be. You could go with kind of a cult thing there and call it 7 brines for 7 brothers. I like that.
7. There you go. Very nice.
It works.
7
right,
wines
everyone.
for 7 brothers.
7 wines for 7 brothers.
I am putting up our respective websites on the screen right there. I wonder if I could do both of these at the same time. Oh my goodness!
Don't forget to vote. You still got to vote.
You still got to
Vote
vote.
for me.
I mean, it's pretty clear that I think I took that one away.
Nick, I just want you to know
end.
I'm going to subtract your comments as points instead of
okay.
those aren't null points. Those are
no
negative
points.
1
Okay,
point
negative
every
points.
time you.
Negative points for Kevin. I can live with that.
Yes.
Kevin, that time Lisa says you did not go daft at the end, so that is high
Not
praise
go daft.
from Ms. Lisa Badger there. Take these banners off. So make sure you visit storyonthespot.live, where you can watch all the episodes, subscribe to the podcast, see our websites. Also, maybe you'll learn a thing or two. Maybe you'll find out that the real friends were the stories we improv'd along the way. All right, everyone. This has been Story on the Spot. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we will catch you again soon. Bye.
Later.